Dino Crisis 2, which was made by Capcom, was back whenever they were doing survival horror on PlayStation out the ass. You had Resident Evil 1, 2, 3, Dino Crisis 1 and 2, and that pretty much was enough to fill in any kind of gap that you were really needed to have filled for that genre. And Dino Crisis 2 decided to take in a little bit of a different direction, which I appreciate quite a bit. Granted, there's fans out there that they'll tell you different that, oh, well, I think that it should have been a little more atmospheric and scary like the first one. Well, it wasn't. And that was actually a good thing because the first one had too much of a Resident Evil feel to it. Granted, they weren't using pre-rendered backgrounds or anything anymore, but it was the fact that it was just Resident Evil with dinosaurs. That's really about it. Sure, there's changes here and there, but the fact is, it remains that it is too much like Resident Evil. But the nice thing about it is that this one decided to go with a more arcade feel, where they were pretty much just going to be running around, you're shooting the living shit out of things, and getting points and moving on to the next area. The puzzles, they're pretty much non-existent. They're very, very simple. But the fact is that it went in a very different direction. So this is going to be my review for Dino Crisis 2. The gameplay overall offers a lot of variety in the sense that you can actually buy all your equipment. That includes your healing items. Now, the downside to that is, in a way, it actually makes the game really easy. It offers very little challenge whenever I can just go through a couple areas and do the old RPG trick of grinding out my experience. In this case, it's not experience, but it's points. I use all those points to redeem for health items, ammos, upgrading the maximum ammo capacity on my gun, and buying new weapons in general. Now the thing is, you could go through the beginning area, take an extra 10-15 minutes just for plain shits and giggles, and decide, I'm going to stay in this area and fuck up these real simple raptors. Once you do that, you have enough to basically buy your way through a good portion of the beginning game, and everything's, going to be dead. That's all I can say is everything's dead. The sub-weapons, they're really good, but the only thing they're really good for is, the, oh shit, the enemy's too close, I have to counterattack. That's pretty much it. That, or if you manage to forget to, get yourself ammo and you have nothing left, the whole Resident Evil, oh shit, I have no items, better use the knife, which I never carried the knife because I always had ammo, because that's just how I played. Unless it was Code Veronica. That game fucked you on ammo, but that's a completely different story. In this, yeah, they made it relatively simple to get a hold of it. So it is nice because you get to enjoy it more, not mow. But the thing is, if you actually want to have a little more of a challenge, and when I say a little more, I mean a whole lot more, hard mode. Hard mode pretty much will, be able to distinguish the regular casual Dino Crisis player to the veteran hardcore player that knows every single fucking thing, every pixel, every goddamn polygon. They know it, they've defeated it, they've skull-fucked it, they have owned it, period, completely. Well, that's what hard mode is pretty much there for, because every enemy, they take more damage. They do more damage, everything costs more to be able to buy. It's all around kind of just like a big fuck you in the face. I couldn't get very far in hard mode just because I didn't have the patience for it. And that's the truth of it, is that I played the game, I beat it on normal. I played it again on normal, I beat it again. But on hard mode, I was like, I have other games to play, so fuck it. Reset, open up the disc tray, pop in another game, and I was on my way into some other wacky PlayStation adventure. But yeah, when it comes to hard mode, no, it wasn't my cup of tea. I guarantee that there's a lot of you out there that probably think that is the bee's fucking knees. And yes, I definitely did just use that saying. So, yeah, I'm cool. No, seriously though, hard mode, if you're one of those people that just wants a challenge right from the get-go, go with that. If you go back and play normal mode after beating hard mode because you've never tried normal mode, you will think that it's a walk in a park, with the fucking Muppet Babies or some shit. It will be so fucking simple. You'll be like, this is a joke, right? Seriously? Because I can go through and backhand all the enemies now. T-Rex comes out, it's like, fuck you. It's like, okay, I'm sorry. Small arms away. Because he does not want to mess with you because you are that fucking righteous. But yeah, if you really want a challenge, I would go with that. The control in Dino Crisis 2 was actually pretty nice. If you take into account the fact that it's still Resident Evil tank style control, so your person can still turn like they're fucking retarded and they're a robot and everything, and they have a big old stick lodged up their ass basically to turn them whatever way you need them to go. But the thing is, you could run and gun and had the quick turnaround. So it actually made up for some things. The irony of it though, while I was going back and playing through the game again just recently, was Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil 5, both made by Capcom, are heavy on action, so you're running around and just fucking stuff up all the time, but you always had to go, stop, aim, shoot, shoot, okay, run, stop. You always had to stop and shoot. How the fuck was it back on PS1, Capcom did it right, and on the newer generation of consoles, they fucked it up? Like, that to me just, like, kind of boggles my mind. I'm like, I don't get it. But anyway, in Dino Crisis 2, it works out fairly well. You can run around and shoot at the same time, which, considering how fast some of the dinosaurs are, it's much needed. Like, if you had to stop every single time, you'd be dead. That's all there is to it. That's a fact. Like, literally, they can come at you at, like, 3 and 4 at a time. So that means if you're kind of just like, turn... and they're just fucking throwing you around, you know, you would just get destroyed in general. So the control in that aspect is actually really nice. My major complaint with it is the auto-aim feature. Basically, you know, you use your little shoulder button and you auto-aim at whatever it is that you're trying to hit. But the thing is, whenever there's two enemies popping up on screen, and in most cases there are, because they usually come out in twos, the one that you're trying to hit, it won't actually aim at. I had instances, and people were actually watching this happen to me, where there's an enemy around the fucking corner, like, I didn't even know the enemy was there, and all of a sudden Regina's just like, bitch, what the fuck are you doing? Aim at this! It didn't matter. I got fucking jumped on, and it was just like, eating away at me. I was like, dude, you gotta be fucking shitting me. Why did that happen? And it happened multiple times throughout the game. Now, mind you, it isn't a situation that occurred so often that it ruined the game for me, but it occurred enough that I decided that, yeah, I should definitely bring it up while reviewing it because it is a nuisance and it is annoying. And it did hinder the gameplay here and there, but mostly whenever I was trying to get like a perfect score within a room so I could get the, you know, big fat fucking bonus points. But the thing is, the only time that I think that's ever going to make a really big difference when you get hit just like one time is if you're playing on like hard mode or something, where the amount of damage that you take is significant. So getting hit once is a really big deal. So in a situation like that, if you're playing on hard mode and the auto aim decides that it's just going to, you know, tell you to fuck off and everything, yeah, I can totally see somebody just flipping out and throwing their controller and telling the game to eat a dick. So, yeah. Other than that, though, the control really didn't give me too much of a problem. I navigated all through the screens without much problem, was able to go up and down the ladders, climb up on things, jump down off things without much of a problem. So overall, it really wasn't bad. Graphically, the game really doesn't look all that bad. It's actually pretty nice looking, especially the CG cutscenes that occur throughout the game. Those look really, really nice. You know, all the dinosaur models, they look really good, especially compared to the first one. They're a lot more detailed this time around. And like I had said previously, is they use pre-rendered backgrounds this time around. Now, and that's a good thing and a bad thing. The pre-rendered backgrounds, naturally, it makes the game look a lot nicer. There isn't as many loading issues. Also, it's a fixed camera angle, so you're not going to be fidgeting around with a camera that's going to be fucking up, which back then, on the 32-bit systems, you know, cameras were notorious for just, you know, going in any fucking direction. Didn't really matter. They just weren't there to help you, pretty much. So you didn't actually have this to deal with. Also, it's more of a cinematic kind of look, you know, because they can pick and choose how they want it to look, and that kind of helps in certain situations if they're trying to, like, set the feel for something. The downside to it, though, is that since it's a fixed camera angle, and this would occur often, and one of the reasons why I actually think that there's definitely a negative side to it, is that when you're running around, since enemies can come from different directions, and a lot of time you're actually trying to listen for when an enemy's going to jump out, is you'll have an enemy jump out from an area, you know, there's no sound sometimes when they jump out, just they don't make a sound, and all of a sudden you're getting hit by an enemy, you had no clue it's there. So one of the best things that you can actually do to avoid this is constantly do the auto aim to see where it goes. But also, the auto aim doesn't always want to help you out, because if it's two enemies come out at the same time, you don't know what fucking direction you're going to be aiming in, and you're pretty much going to get gangbanged by reptilian cock anyway. So that kind of sucks. So when it comes to pre-rendered backgrounds, that kind of is debatable overall. But I mean, as far as just the look of the game, yeah, it's pretty nice. They used a lot of things to their advantage, which I thought was nice. Like the water, for instance, having dinosaurs come up out of the water, which was, you know, technically in the background. And there was other times where you'd be, you know, running somewhere and you'd see dinosaurs off in the distance, or like underneath you while you were going over a bridge and things like that, where it actually added to it. So, you know, there was like actual depth to it rather than just like a static background that seemed, you know, flat, even though, you know, it's supposed to look like you're running along something. But overall, I still think that the game actually looks really, really nice for what it is. Overall, Dino Crisis 2 is a hell of a game, especially for that era in gaming. It was kind of ahead of its time with a lot of aspects. You know, it offered a whole lot of variety whenever it came to gameplay, and it controlled well. Overall, was really fun too. It's not the longest game though. That's something that I kind of wish that it offered more, as, you know, when it came to actual gameplay length. But there's a lot of replay value, which is really nice, and it's fun to play through multiple times, just, you know, for the sheer hell of it. You know, the music, not so bad. The sound effects, definitely not bad. The graphics, again, not bad. Just the game's, you know, really good. I would always recommend it to anybody who's looking for a survival horror game and hasn't actually tried it. You know, it's not as scary, or it doesn't even try to be as scary as the first one. It really goes in its own direction, and that much, you know, it succeeds completely. You know, it's doing its own thing. It's not trying to latch on to the fucking, like, reins of Resident Evil and ride those out. You know, it's pretty much going in its own direction, and I can definitely appreciate that. So if you want a run and gun game that's got, like, a lot of suspense to it and, you know, keeps your adrenaline going, then yeah, Dino Crisis 2 is definitely up your alley. If you haven't tried it, most definitely check it out. Out of the 3 games, I definitely say that it's the best. It beats the living shit out of 3. 3 is a fucking joke. But it is better than Part 2. So if you want to play a Dino Crisis game because you've tried none of them, and this is the first time you're hearing about any of them, then I'd play Part 2. You know, maybe you want to play Part 1 then Part 2, but the stories don't really go together, so you won't be missing out on anything or spoiling anything for yourself. So I would say definitely check it out, and if I had to give it an actual score, out of 10, I would probably give it an 8.0. So yeah, I'll present that right there. Right here, 8.0. Look at that. It has an official score. Lovely. But yeah, Dino Crisis, check it out, because it gets my seal of approval, which I don't actually have anything for that, so I'll make a seal of approval next time. So, yep, play it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Saget. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Saget. Ladies and gentlemen, Bob Saget.
Oh, Bob Saget!